up, guys? This is the fourth time I've had to record this. It's Derek from Mediocre Streams, and I'm here to give my impressions on Overwatch 2. It came out for free to play earlier this week. And if you've been able to play, because we'll get to it, I'm going to give my thoughts on what I think. And, you know, you can see I might come off as a bit biased. I'll try not to be. I know I'm a fan of the first game. I do really love it. But I'm going to try to be completely neutral on this and be fair. I'm not going to gush overly where I feel it's not deserved. And I'm just going to go point by point because I have my handy dandy note card. Because you can have your notes. And we'll just go point by points. And the first point is some of the new heroes. So there's 3 new heroes. Kiriko, your support. Sojourn, your assault, your DPS. And Junker Queen, your tank. You have 3 new heroes on launch. Not bad. They could have done, I don't know how many heroes upon launch of a new game. It's really just an addition to a previous game, and I'll touch on that. I don't know how many is enough to be like, this is good. I mean, it's good that they didn't do just 1 hero. 3 is good, and they all play really well. Although, I do sense a bit of a, Junker Queen, a lot of people play as her, and she seems, I know she's a tank, but it seems like she's pretty tanky and pretty tall. They're good. I think they're good additions. They play well. I really enjoy Sojourn for like a fast-paced DPS. She's not tracer fast, but she has like a slide that can go into a jump. It's pretty cool, and some cool mechanics there. Kiriko, however, and this is not against the hero itself, it's the fact that she is locked in the pass because they have a battle pass, as does every game. And I'm going to try to explain this. So, Battle Pass has free tier, premium tier. They all pretty much do that. Premium tier, you pay for. You get her immediately. Level 55 for free, you get her for free. But she is playable in like Quick Match and Arcade. I think she's not playable in Ranked and Competitive if you don't have her. And that's weird that I guess it's ranked and that's like the thing because it's a competitive game, but it's kind of weird because I'm thinking, what if you don't get her? Does that mean she's locked out for ever in ranked? I just, a lot of games like this that have the hero specialist operator set up, they don't do that. They don't lock out characters. And I'm thinking like Rainbow Six, they add new characters, operators each season, and they're not free at first. They're not available to the general player base at first. They're available only to the premium battle pass players. But after like a week or so, they make them available for purchase through like premium credits or in-game credits. But they don't lock them out. I don't know any game that does that in any capacity, so it's really not a good look. I mean, I know it's just ranked she'd be locked out for, but it's not like that's not good, Blizzard. And considering this game's launch, you don't want to be walking on thin ice with your players. But I like the new heroes. I think they're pretty cool. They gel well with general gameplay. Not much complaints there, other than obviously one's locked for ranked, and Junker Queen seems to be a bit OP. Maybe I'm just imagining things because they have a new team setup. I'll get to that next. But she seems like she's able to take a lot of damage even for a tank. But they've changed it to 5v5. General gameplay, it's 2 supports, 2 DPS, 1 tank now. It used to be 2 tanks. They moved it to 1 tank. And I don't know how a lot of people feel about that. My thoughts is that you're getting to less big fights. I mean, it's 1 guy difference, so the fights can still be pretty big. But I can understand why they did that, because now supports can focus on either 1 tank or the DPSs instead of 2 tanks. And there are some maps where they have those choke points, Hollywood, Eichenwald, they like before people would double up on with a Reinhardt, Orisa, Sigma, shield tanks, and just able to hold, and it became a friggin' trial to get through. With 1 tank, you can't do that. You can't hold these choke points. It makes it a little easier, which if that's the idea, is to make it to where you can't have these impenetrable walls of bullshit, I understand that, but it does feel a bit off for guys like me who have been playing since launch of the first game. It's going to take some time to get used to, you know, going from 6 players to 5, 2 tanks to 1 tank. And, you know, time will tell if players do get used to this new system. And you can still play in, like, arcade games. You know, if you want to run 2 tanks, obviously you're just down that 1 player, so you're not doing 2, 2, 2 for each classes. But I think it's off, but I can see people getting used to it. I'm getting used to it as I play. They've new UI changes. They've changed, not drastically, the look of the game, where like your health bar is or ammo counter, but there is some stuff that are different. You know, I played Zenyatta, and they've changed like where his the little stuff is to tell you who has your orbs. And it's kind of a nice little design where the health is in a circle around the icon rather than just straight bars or whatever it was before, because memory has betrayed me. And they do that with all the heroes. It's all just different UI stuff. The menu's completely different, hero selection is completely different. Yeah, it's not a radical change, and we'll get to the necessity of this game as a sequel, but I'm fine with a lot of this change. I like a lot of the UI changes, and that's my unorganized thoughts on that matter. There's some new maps, obviously. All the maps have been reworked in some way, mainly for like time of day. You know, like I think it's Route 66 that's been made to nighttime, which is a weird change. I don't know why you wouldn't just have, here's that map in night and day. It's not like that makes much of a difference. And some of the new maps, because they've also added new modes. There's the new push mode, which if you've played any kind of tug of war game mode in something like TF2, it's that, you know, you push, try to get as far as you can to the end point. And they got some good maps for that. There's one map, I can't remember what it was, but I really like just the general design, and that there's like 2 stories. There's good like verticality to it. I can't remember what it was, but I was like, this is a good map. I really like this. And a lot of the maps I'm thinking are pretty good. I have to play more to get a good idea as to like what I think about these maps. However, they've removed assault, you know, the classic assault, capture point A, capture point B. That's gone. It's in the custom games, but arcade, competitive, unranked, quick play, it's gone. So maps like Hanamura are gone. That mode's gone. It's been replaced with push. And I don't know how I feel about removing an entire mode and all the maps for that. Again, they're still there in custom games, but that's an entire mode, dude. Yeah, I hope that's not just because they want to make it for the competitive scene to like remove an entire mode for their whole like game structure, because you know I like some of those maps. And there's also hero changes. They've reworked a lot of some of the heroes, like Bastion, completely reworked. Orissa's been reworked. They changed their ultimates completely. Some characters have like Reinhardt now has 2 fire strikes. Zarya can pop 2 bubbles either on herself or on enemies, and they're on recharge. I almost said McCree. Yeah, you know him as McCree. If you want to call him McCree or Cole or whatever, you know, the cowboy. They changed. He no longer has the flashbang. It's more like it's a magnetic grenade. Speaks for itself. But not a lot of crazy changes for most of the heroes. I mean, there's like Doomfist is a tank now rather than a DPS, and he's got new abilities to go with that, but nothing super. I'm looking at my other monitor and thinking about the heroes, you know, I'm trying to get a good idea. Yeah, hero changes. So I'm curious to see what people will think, because like Bastion's changed. Like, he no longer has turn mode. He can just go to like that minigun mode and move around, but for only 6 seconds. I'm curious as to how people will think of that rather than, you know, a stationary turret. There's new items to unlock. They've added charms. You can get weapon charms, which is something that I was saying they should add, and they have. Emotes called souvenirs, where it's characters flourishing, like I think assault or a GG, whatever. It can take the place in your emote wheel. And a little touch I like is that each character has a different animation for bringing out that souvenir. I think that was kind of cool, because they could have just had them all have a really simple animation, but the fact that they all have character unique ones, like Reinhardt flexes and then pulls out his souvenir. So there's more stuff to unlock, which I'm glad. No new weapon skins though. I don't know why that's not a priority, but maybe I'll get to that. And there's a proper scoreboard. That's something I wrote down. I was like, I want to mention that they've got a proper scoreboard. You can see everyone's KD, what everyone's doing, even on the other team. I'm really happy for that, because there's some games out there that don't want to do scoreboards, or at least they don't want to have your deaths on there because you're a bitch, you can't handle having a bad KD. But they got that here. You got your KD, you got your heals, your damage, everything. I really like that. They've added a battle pass, because every game, every live service has a battle pass now, especially since now the game is free to play. They got to make that money somehow. Now, while I've been at work, I've been going over in my mind, is this pass fairly set up in terms of XP gain? You know, if you're playing casually, will you be able to get through tiers at a decent rate to get to the end before the season's over? So if you play like a couple matches, a few hours, let's say you play 5 hours, 3 hours, you know, that's, you know, you got home from work, you want to play a game, 3 hours, because we're being minimum. Between just general XP gain from matches, as well as challenges, because they do daily, weekly, seasonal challenges that you complete those, you get a big old chunk of battle pass XP. I'm thinking you could get 3 or so, you know, if you're really diligent in those 3 hours, about like, I'm gonna complete challenges, I'm gonna do, you know, be good in these games and do things that can get me that little extra, because you can do like consecutive matches will net you extra XP. I'm thinking you can get maybe like 3, you know, one tier an hour, because I've been playing since it came out, when I've been able to, and we'll get to that. And I'm already at level 10, because I've been doing, you know, challenges and whatnot. You know, and obviously I work, I've said it, so I don't have all the time in the world to devote to the game. So I'm thinking it's pretty fair so far in terms of XP gain. It doesn't feel like that much of a grind. And I think it's only 10,000 per tier, so it's not like it gets higher with each tier as far as I can tell. So it seems fair in that regard. And I'm thinking, like, in that battle pass, do you get good stuff? Because it looks like it is pretty good. There's some cool skins. They've added titles for you, so you can be like, I'm mediocre in many ways. Mediocre the whatever something. Player cards. It's a lot like Call of Duty, where you have your emblem and your card and whatnot. So they get stuff among there, and they got a really cool Genji skin that you can customize, like its patterns and color scheme and stuff like that. So there's cool stuff there. It's just a matter of you locked out a hero, oddly, and yeah, I did just get a really cool Winston skin for free. That's like, he's this freaking nom soldier. There's cool stuff there. And we'll see if following seasons, like, what they'll have to offer, because this is the, you know, a system that a lot of games use right now, and it's always predicated on, do you have good shit? And not every game has good shit in their passes. So from what I can see, it's looking good in that regard. But now to the big thing. The game launched, people were looking to play, they couldn't, because the game was being DDoS'd. By who? I think there might have been a news story on that. I don't remember. But it caused long ass queue times. I was in a stream, it took me like 30 minutes to get through. You're lucky I'm patient, Blizzard. But that's not, I mean, it's not their fault. You know, Blizzard doesn't, you know, game developers, they don't want this to happen. They can't make it happen. This is an outside thing, people doing it to them. And how are you supposed to prepare for that? You're supposed to be like, I think we might be DDoS'd. But it set a lot of people back. and I'm hoping that they are smart and do player friendly things to make up for the fact that some people weren't able to play for those few days. And this has gone to my new philosophy of you got to earn that money through goodwill. All right, Blizzard, any developers, you can't just go pay me, we made the game free, pay me. Like, no, you got to be generous, offer some things for free, make, be transparent with your community. My idea was, however many days this has been going on, take that number, double it, add those amount of days to the pass, so that players who haven't been able to get that XP in the past have more time. Do that and people will be happy. People will be like, that's cool, Blizzard, you're earning goodwill. They don't seem to be doing that, and it'll be curious to see how they handle this whole ordeal, because it's not gonna look good if they just say fuck it, you're out of luck. And how long they'll take for them to actually recover from this. I mean, the game is free to play. There's not a huge loss in terms of like that barrier to entry that comes from having to pay for the game. So even if people aren't able to get in right now, they will be eventually, and it won't cost them anything. It really just comes down to how Blizzard addresses this, how they compensate players if they do, which they should. And yeah, it's not I mean, people often say it's a disaster. It's not good, but like disaster, I'm thinking like Battlefield 2042, that was a disaster, because at least when you get in game it works. Thank you 2042 for making this a concern for me. But when you play Overwatch 2 and you shoot people, they get hit and they take damage. That wasn't a problem I ever had to think about until Battlefield. This is not a disaster, it's just not good. This is not a good start. This is tripping over your feet at the beginning of the foot race, and they have to crawl their way back up before they can get sprinting. But it's not good, but I wouldn't say it's a disaster. My final point was just the overall necessity of this game. Does it need to exist? It shouldn't be two, for one. I've been against that since the get-go, since I found out like, oh, this isn't even like a sequel, this is just like a content update. And then there's the PvE stuff that will come eventually that you do have to pay for, and we'll see how that handles. But this doesn't deserve to be called 2. Version 2, Phase 2, like something that says like, this isn't a sequel as much as it's a next step for the game. Because just 2 makes it sound like, oh, new game. It's not. This is just redesigns for everything, UI changes, map changes, new stuff, free to play, rework to everything. It doesn't need to be called 2. Does it need to exist? I think, well, they want this game to succeed and last long term. I think, making a big show of like new game, quote unquote new game, it pulls people in, sure, certainly, and being free to play means there's no barrier to entry, so people feel like, yeah, I'll try that out, and certainly people will try it out, especially when this DDoS storm clears. But this has just been bad marketing, and Blizzard hasn't earned goodwill with stuff like Diablo Immortal, which is why I say you guys gotta do stuff to get people to want to play and support you. Yeah, I've been playing Deep Rock Galactic, which everyone should, and they're just so transparent with their player base. They offer so much stuff, so much content, that you want to give those guys money just because you're awesome. And people need to learn, it's not the players' fault. Publishers, developers need to learn from shit like that. You gotta earn that dollar, you gotta have goodwill, transparency, be upfront with your player base, and earn that money, because you can't just go, here's a game, pay me. I'm not getting that entirely from this game, but I am getting the sense that Blizzard is being Blizzard with a lot of things. They're just being ignorant and stupid, because Blizzard, not that smart. Diablo Immortal showed us like they are not the smartest group of people. Maybe that's just the Activision influence. I don't know if the Microsoft acquisition has gone all the way through, but if it hasn't, maybe when they're in there, they're able to kick things around and get not just this game, but all their games into shape. That kind of went off into different area, outside of Overwatch 2 as a whole. But it's just my 2 cents. I've been thinking about it while I've been working. I'm enjoying the game. Again, maybe there's that bias, because I do love Overwatch. It is one of my favorite games. It was like my number 4 game of the decade. It immediately hooked me when I first played the beta of the game, the first game, and I really want this to work out for it. I'm rooting for it, for the game, not Blizzard, not Activision, certainly not Activision. I'm rooting for the game, itself. And there are good devs that are working hard on it, that are, they want it to succeed too. I am having fun. I do have a positive outlook on it. I'm hoping they can recover from, this whole DDoS incident and compensate players for, any issues, because again, goodwill goes a long way. But that's my thoughts. I want to hear what you guys think. Are you enjoying the game? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? Do you think players should be compensated for these connection issues to keep them from playing the game? Do you think the pass is good? What are your in-brain thoughts? Because I like to hear them. So leave those in the comments. Leave a like. Please subscribe. And check out my Twitch and do all that good stuff, because I enjoy communicating with you people. So till next time, I'll see y'all later.